Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Wekiva High School welcomes you to Mustang Field, where it's a beautiful day for baseball. And today we welcome our guests from Crooms Academy of Information Technology in Sanford. They are the Panthers. And they'll be taking on your Wekiva High School Mustang. Let's meet the teams. We'll begin with our guests from Crooms, and we'll start with their leadoff hitter, shortstop, number 2, Ryan Acevedo. Batting second for the Panthers, and on the pitcher's mound to start today's game, number 4, Jay Goodwin. Second in the lineup for Wekiva, second baseman, number 5, Wyatt Smythe. Third in the lineup for the Mustangs, shortstop, number 21, Christian Vasquez. And the cleanup hitter for Wekiva, first baseman, number 23, Tamir Simon. In the 5-hole for the Mustangs, and behind the plate at the top of each inning, number 2, Jazion McCoy. Batting sixth for the Mustangs, left fielder, number 10, Ian Rosado. In the 7-hole, third baseman, number 8, Django Sanchez. Batting eighth for the Mustangs, designated hitter, number 24, Shannon Kemp. And finally for the Mustangs, batting ninth, right fielder, number 3, Ethan France. Fielding for Kemp and starting today's game on the pitcher's mound for the Mustangs, number 9, Ricardo Reyes Muniz. And the Mustangs are managed by Coach Scudero and Coach Wersu. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please stand as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you here in the ballpark, we want to remind you that today's game, like all of our home games, is being live streamed on YouTube as well as the NFHS network. If you have friends and family who are back in Sanford, elsewhere in Apopka, or anywhere in the world, and they would like to join us virtually for today's game, just send them to our YouTube channel, pull up the YouTube app on your favorite computer, smart TV, or mobile device, and search for Wekiva Sports. Again, it's Wekiva Sports on the YouTube app. You can also find us on the NFHS network. We simulcast our live streams there in case you happen to be a member there as well. Coming up after the game, we will have senior night celebrating the class of 2021 and our 7 members of the team. Again, that will be immediately following today's game, and that will be on its own separate live stream so that you can go back and watch it later. And once again, we welcome you to Mustang Field. My name is Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs and Sports Information Director here at Wekiva High School. And I'll be joined momentarily by Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief, and we'll be taking you through this game, which is actually not the last game of the year for Wekiva. However, because their last game of the year overlaps with softball, and we wanted to make sure that these seniors were not sharing the spotlight, we decided to put Senior Day for baseball today, and then coming up on the 26th, we'll have Senior Day for softball.
And as always, Mark, an excellent introduction of the excellent job of the introduction.
As we enter the top of the first inning, the leadoff hitter for the Panthers, shortstop number 2, Ryan Acevedo.
So we got a pair of teams that come in today under 500. Certainly they would hope to do much better, as Acevedo, the shortstop, takes ball one. However, Wekiva is doing much better. They are 5-9 on the season. Crooms 1-8. Obviously a very young team. As the swing and the miss by Acevedo. Acevedo is one of only 2 seniors on the roster. He comes in batting 154. Does lead the team in runs with 8 and a pair of doubles. Reyes Munoz on the mound for Wekiva. He delivers high, and that'll take the count to 2-1. So Wekiva comes in on a 2-game winning streak, their longest of the season, the only time that they've won back-to-back games. Now looking to up that to 3 as we get strike 2, 2-2 count. And it's been a long season, as you would expect for Wekiva. They are young. Crooms is even younger, but the 2 games might indicate that they got something going as the ball slapped over to shortstop. That's Vasquez, who makes the errant throw, and what should have been a routine first out will wind up with Acevedo at second.
Acevedo is safe at second base. Next at the plate for the Panthers, pitcher number 44, Matt Trepain. Kind of a short roster for the Panthers here. They have just 11 players total. They have their 9 starters and 2 reserves.
Trepain now at the plate, a sophomore, 120 batting average as he lays down the bunt. It's a good one. It'll do the job as Reyes Munoz comes off the mound and gets that out. Runner over to third with 1 out.
Reyes Munoz makes the throw to Simon for the 1-3 ground out on the sacrifice bunt. It advances Acevedo to third. Next at the plate for the Panthers, third baseman number 8, Dylan Gallant.
So Gallant steps in. He's also a freshman. He is the leading hitter for Crooms, batting .333, 6 for 18, 5 RBIs. That's also number 1 on Crooms. And he's going to swing at the first pitch, lift that ball into center field, and it'll drop for a single. So the perfect start for Crooms, taking advantage of the throwing error by Vasquez on the leadoff hitter.
Gallant singles into center field, and that picks up the RBI and puts the Panthers on the board. Next at the plate for Crooms, first baseman number 30, Ethan Richards.
Richards batting .250. He has 3 RBIs, which places him third on the Crooms Panthers. And we will set the defensive lineup. McCoy behind the plate, Simon at first, Smythe, the senior, at second. In the hole, shortstop Vasquez on the hot corner, Sanchez. As a swing and a miss for Richards. Reyes Munoz needed to get ahead of a hitter here. Does that. In the outfield, Rosado on the left side, France on the right side, and Goodwin in the middle. So a 0-1 count on Richards, the first baseman, as he steps back in. Batting .250 on the season. And looking to get his total from 3 RBIs up. He will not do it here as the ball's hit over to Smythe. He gobbles it up over to first. And the inning is over, but Crooms takes advantage of an error, 1-0, as we head to the bottom of the first.
Smythe makes the play to Simon for the 4-3 ground out. And that takes us to the middle of the first inning. In that half inning, 1 run scored on 1 hit with 1 Mustang error, and the Panthers lead the Mustangs 1-0 at the end of half an inning. We'll be right back. As we enter the bottom of the first inning, the leadoff hitter for the Mustangs once again is center fielder number 1, C.J. Goodwin.
We begin the bottom of the first. Wekiva trailing 1-0, an unearned run in the first inning. Ryan Acevedo reaching base on an error and scoring. Goodwin will start off with the attempted bunt. It will be an 0-1 count. So mentioned in that first inning, Wekiva looking to get 3 consecutive victories in a row. Not the way they want to start. Popped up into center field, and that is Dunlop putting the ball away.
Matt Dunlop makes the fly catch in center field, 1 away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate for Wekiva, second baseman, number 5, Wyatt Smythe, who has apparently chosen the Star Wars Cantina theme for his walk-up music. Much respect for that.
So Richards steps up.
This is Smythe at the plate.
Excuse me, Smythe.
And he lays down a bunt that goes afoul of the third base line for strike 1.
So Goodwin batting .281 on the season, leads the team in run with 12 and triples with 2. Your batting lineup for Wekiva, if you joined us late, is Goodwin, Smith, Vasquez, Simon, McCoy, Rosado, Sanchez, Kemp, and France, as Smythe levels one, but it'll be foul, and that'll put the count at 0-2.
1-2.
1-2. And that will even the count at 2-2. On the mound for Crooms, the Panthers, is Matt Trepane. And Trepane comes in as he will get that strikeout, the swing and the miss for Goodwin, the leadoff hitter for Wekiva.
Trepane records the swinging strikeout, 2 away for the Mustangs. Next to the plate for Wekiva, shortstop, number 21, Christian Vasquez.
So Trepane comes in with a .525 ERA, 0-0 record. This is his 7th appearance. He's given up 14 hits, 13 runs, only 6 earned. And he's going to get, can he get some defensive help? No. That was Acevedo in the hole, and obviously it's easy to say, but I think most coaches would agree, as actually we're going to get a 3B, a second error. Probably should have held that ball. Wekiva with a runner at third and only 1 out now.
So, Neil, are you going to give him the single for that, or just the error?
No, that was a single, and then he advanced to second and third on errors. Again,
next at the plate for the Mustangs, first baseman number 23, Demir Simon, with a runner at third.
And by the way, Smith was batting .500. So Vasquez steps in, the senior. Number 3 on the team in batting average, .429. He also is second in runs with 10 and third with hits. He's going to take a swing and a miss. That'll even the count at 1-1. So your defensive lineup for Crooms, you have Richards behind the plate. The other Richards at first base. Your second baseman is Warren. In the hole, the shortstop, Acevedo. The third baseman, Gallant. In the outfield, Romero on the right, McWilliams on the left, and in the center is Dunlop, who's already recorded 1 out. Runner at third, 1 out. That lead being held by Crooms as Christian Vasquez looks at ball 1, a 1-1 count.
This is Demir Simon.
Excuse me, Demir Simon.
Chopping at that one to send it a foul to the backstop. That'll bring up a 2-2 count. Again, for those of you just joining us, we want to welcome you to our live stream on YouTube or the NFHS Network. I'm Mark Barchi. Neil Fisher is the other voice that you hear from the Apopka Chief. And here we get a swing and a miss, and that takes us to the end of the first inning. In that half inning, the Mustangs scored no runs on one hit with 2 Panther errors, leaving 1 on base, and the score remains 1-0 Crooms at the end of 1 inning. We'll be right back. As we enter the top of the second inning, the Panthers will begin in the 5th position of their lineup with catcher number 21, Jacob Richards.
And Wekiva down 1-0. After Richards, we'll have Matt Dunlap, the center fielder, and the second baseman, Jordan Warren. And strike 1 on Richards. On the mound for Wekiva is Reyes Muñez. And he will get the swinging strike. An 0-2 count now on Richards. Reyes Muñez delivers, and that will keep Richards alive, the foul ball.
Man, I just get a piece of that now. The Mustangs have actually met up with Crooms once before this season. They played on March 5th, so exactly 1 month ago, and that was a 12-4 victory for Wekiva. And here's the called strikeout, as you say, Neil, standing there like the side of the like a house on the side of the road. Reyes Muñez records the strikeout called, and that puts 1 away for the Panthers. Next at the plate for Crooms, center fielder, number 5, Matt Dunlap.
So Dunlap steps in, batting .308 on the season. He has 1 RBI and a double. And Reyes Muñez comes in. He is the, I guess you could say, the ace of this staff, although Wilkerson might be a 1A. That'll be ball 1. He is 1-4 on the season, a 9.72 ERA. This is his 6th appearance. He started all 6 games he's appeared in. So certainly an opportunity to get that ERA down lower. And we'll talk more about that Crooms game as this one goes on. The first game, as the count is now 2-0 to Matt Dunlap, number 5, the center fielder. He's also a junior. He's going to make connection there and hit that ball into center field.
And it's going to drop, and he may have an extra base coming to him here. He does, in fact, turn that into a double as Jacob Richards puts the ball deep into center field for a Panther double. Next at the plate for Crooms, second baseman, number 4, Jordan Warren.
So Warren will step up to the plate, a runner at second with 2 outs. That's the second hit today given up by Reyes Munoz. Warren batting .300 right on the nose. 3 for 10. And has an RBI, and he will take the first pitch and misses on the swing. So talked about Reyes Munoz. He comes in with the highest ERA, 9.72 against on the Wekiva staff. However, in his defense, he has taken on the most difficult, the biggest challenges, the Apopkas, the Olympias, the West Oranges, certainly the powerhouses of the sport, and he will deliver ball 1, 1-1 count. On Warren, number 4. Wekiva's staff as a whole, we've talked about this throughout the season, a very good hitting team, but pitching has been their bugaboo, their Achilles heel, if you will, as the count now goes to 2-1. Wekiva comes into today's game actually batting .299. Can't really ask for much better batting average than .299, but their ERA is 6.75, and that might seem like nothing to write home. As a matter of fact, that might seem high, but they're actually bringing that ERA down as the count will now go to 2-1. Until about 5 games ago, that ERA was hovering around 10. So again, 6.75 ERA compared to 10, as we will now be looking at a full count.
A called strike there. And you know, Neil, you were talking about the Mustangs coming into this game. They're 5-9, but they're currently riding a 2-win streak and trying to see if they can turn it into 3 here. That is going to go in play. Coming in from left field, and the Mustangs can't do anything to stop that one. So single recorded for Warren, and that will put runners at 1 and 3 for the Panthers. Next at the plate will be right fielder number 14, Jesus Romero.
And Romero still looking for his first hit of the season. He's the right fielder and a sophomore. So again, a battle between 2 young teams. You could say Wekiva's young, but Crooms is even younger. They only have 2 seniors on the roster. As Reyes Munoz delivers ball 1. And in general, you mentioned Wekiva on a 2-game winning streak, but they are actually 4-5 over their last 9 games. So certainly moving in the right direction, as Reyes Munoz will get the call, 1-1.
And we're going to pause here for a little conference. Coach Cadero coming out.
So a 4-5, obviously, that's not going to get you into the playoffs. That's not going to pop out. But when you are a team young like Wekiva, you only have 1 player with significant starting experience at the varsity level. That's certainly a step in the right direction. It's certainly something that builds confidence moving forward and gives the team a blueprint also moving forward.
Yeah, meanwhile, as we have this timeout here, you can see from our elevated shot there, we have the seniors' jersey numbers in the class of 2021 painted there on the third base line. We'll be, again, if you're just joining us and missed the announcement at the beginning of the game, we will be recognizing 7 young men who are in the class of 2021. That will happen immediately after the game. Of course, the more traditional thing to do would be to have senior day before the first pitch rather than at the conclusion of the game. However, in this particular case, we are going to do it after the game because it was already kind of an early first pitch with a 4 o'clock start. If we had done senior day before the game, it would have had to start at 3:30, and we have a lot of parents who are not able to take advantage of that, and we're going to get an error here on the Mustangs that allows a runner to come home. That would have just been a stolen base and a failed pick at first, but because the ball was fumbled there by Simon, it allowed a runner to score. So now with a runner at 2 and 2 runs on the board for Crooms, Wekiva will try to recalibrate here.
Yeah, Romero steps back in. And he will look at ball 3. Actually, ball 2, a 2-1 count.
It feels like it should be a 3 by now, but that was because there were a couple of pick attempts at first. That one just doesn't have enough mustard on it, and it goes into the dirt. And it turns out you were right the second time, Neil. Now that takes it to a 3-1 count.
So certainly need to get an out here. If ball isn't put in play, need a strike. Reyes Munoz on the mound. He's already trailing 2-0. Both runs unearned. And you had mentioned, Mark, that this is the second time the two teams have met. Wekiva took a 12-4 victory on March 5th. And that game, the teams combined for 11 errors. So certainly looking like we're going to see another one of those games, as that's ball 4. That'll put runners at first and second for Crooms.
Romero walks to first. Runners at 1 and 3 for left fielder, number 42, Keelan McWilliams.
And McWilliams comes in. He's also looking for his first base hit of the season, but has scored a run. A senior.
And I misspoke. Runners at 1 and 2. There was no opportunity to steal there on that walk. So 1 and 2 as the first pitch comes inside, but does manage to catch the inside of the strike zone.
So if you're Crooms, you come into this game, and actually they're only 1 and 8. They've played only 9 games as Reyes Munoz delivers, and he will get strike 1.
That'd be strike 2.
Excuse me, strike 2. So an 0-2 count, perfect start, exactly what he needs. This is the only game, that game against Wekiva was the only in which the game was not called after 5 innings due to the 10-run rule for Crooms. And the strike, the swing, and a miss. 2 outs.
Reyes Munoz records the swinging strikeout to put 2 away for the Panthers. Next up, they return to the top of the lineup card with shortstop, number 2, Ryan Acevedo.
So Reyes Munoz with his 9th strikeout of the season. More importantly, to the immediate situation, that's 2 outs. Runners remain at first and second. Acevedo, 0 for 1, but he did score the first run. He reached base on a throwing error. The usually sure-handed Christian Vasquez committing that error. So when the two teams met, as Acevedo lifts that ball into left center field, and it will drop, and more runs are going to score for Crooms. Rounding third is Romero, and he's not going to go home, though. So 3-0.
RBI double. Shot by Acevedo there. That puts runners at 2 and 3. Next at the plate will be pitcher number 44, Matt Trepane.
So Trepane steps in. He is 0 for 1, but he did sacrifice Acevedo, who we said reached base on an error in that first inning. So another fact about that game between Wekiva and Crooms, the final score again was 12-4, as the lowest amount of runs that Crooms has given up this season. It's also the most they scored, as an 0-1 or 1-0 count on Trepane. So there's something to look at if you're Crooms in terms of coming back here for the second game. They've certainly parlayed that, taking this 3-0 lead. And your count now 2-0. Reyes Munoz gets the sign, and he will deliver the third ball.
Yeah, that's a low curve, and it drops too low. Becomes a 3-0 count, and 1 pitch away now from potentially loading the bases. Of course, 2 outs, so having bases loaded is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Trepane walks to first, and that will load the bases for third baseman number 8, Dylan Gallant.
So Crooms also has scored only 29 runs total. They've played 9 games, 1 and 8, given up 114 runs. So certainly a much different team, at least during the first 2 innings here, as Gallant steps in and he will take ball 1. Gallant singling in the first of the 3 runs scored in the first inning, a solid single into left field. He'll beat that ball into the ground, and that will even the count at 1-1. So Gallant will raise his .333 average, and he now has 6 RBIs on the season. And Reyes Munoz delivers ball 2, a 2-1 count now on the number 3 hitter for Crooms.
Yeah, that's another one of those pitches that just ran out of gas. Fourth pitch away. That one is outside and high. And now one more ball will automatically score a run.
So a very rocky start for Wekiva against a team they beat convincingly a month ago. And there's the strike.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame Gallant for not swinging at that one because it had to be perfect. You'd rather score the easy way.
Yeah, don't make life more difficult than need be.
Now he's got to stay alive, though. He's got a runner coming home, and, yeah, that's an obvious choice for the runner at third to get a head start there because either the inning's over or you're going to score anyway. So Gallant walks to first, and Romero comes home. Next at the plate, first baseman number 30, Ethan Richards.
Yeah, so the bases will remain loaded, as will the 2 outs. That's the good news if you're Wekiva. Bad news is the score is now 4-0. And only one of the runs are earned. Swing in connection by Richards, and we're going to have more trouble for Wekiva all the way to the fence in the left field. Rosado picks up the ball, throws it in, but not before 2 more runs have crossed the plate in a 6-0 lead for the Crooms Panthers at Mustang Field.
Ethan Richards picks up a 2 RBI double into left center field. Next at the plate for the Panthers, catcher number 21, Jacob Richards.
And that double also pushes the runners to second and third, Gallant at third and Richards at second. And now the other Richards, that's Ethan Richards, who just batted and got the double. Jacob Richards, the other Richards, now will step in, and he's the 10th batter in this inning. Crooms going through the lineup in the second inning. They had a 1-0 lead. It is now 1-0, and it is now 6-0. So Wekiva is going to have to do some work offensively when this inning does finally end. And Jacob Richards, 0 for 1, striking out to lead off this inning, and he will take strike 1 from Reyes Munoz.
Of course, we have Ethan Richards and Jacob Richards in back-to-back spaces on the lineup as he fouls this one away for strike 2. And just to look at them, they are believably related to each other, but I have not had a chance to talk to the coach to confirm that.
Yeah, Crooms coached by Michael DiNapoli, Juan Lopez, the assistant. And Richards will step out. 6-0 the score, top of the second. We're just getting going here at Mustang Field. But Crooms certainly has found that 6th gear here in this first couple of innings. And that will reload the bases, the hit batsman.
Next at the plate for the Panthers, Number 5, the center fielder, Matt Dunlop. So, in that case, Reyes Muniz kind of stole defeat from the jaws of victory there as he had an 0-2 count. And then with the hit batsman, now we have to face a new batter.
Dunlap swinging at the first pitch, and that's a trend that I'm noticing, Mark. Crooms, I don't know if this is their normal tendency or if it's just because of Reyes Muniz, but they are swinging a lot of first pitches. Dunlap, 1 for 1, a very big hit. He doubled and really got this inning started. And he will lift this ball into left field, no man's land, and the inning will continue. Another run comes in to make that 8-0, as a single brings in 2 more runs off the bat of Dunlop.
Dunlop singles into left field and then gets to second on the throw. 2 RBIs scored on the hit. Next to the plate for the Panthers, second baseman number 4, Jordan Warren.
So Gallant and Richards score on that single off the bat of Dunlop. And we will now... And we're going to get a pitching change, only 1 2/3 innings into this game against Crooms.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment. Now pitching for the Mustangs, number 18, Adrian Bandana. And at the plate for the Panthers, second baseman number 4, Jordan Warren.
So Warren steps in. 6-0 is the score. I have to admit, Mark, I would think most people would think this is a surprise, as that is Bandana on the mound. And Bandana, this is only his second appearance. He faced only 2 batters, so no stats.
Yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily have enough data to do proper Vegas odds making, but you'd like to believe, based solely on the team records and the performance in the game we saw a month ago today, that Wekiva would have been the favored team coming in here and Crooms would have been the underdog. But that certainly is not how it's been playing out over the first inning and a half, as we got a good-looking cut there from the batter there, Jordan Warren, but it brings up a 1-2 count, so...
Yeah, 8-0 is the score. We're in the top of the second from Mustang Field. Crooms with the 8. Wekiva had 1 month ago, beating Crooms 12-4, as that will bring the count to 1-2. And in that 12-4 victory, well, Wekiva, we'll look at the records first. Wekiva counts 2-2. Wekiva, as the count now goes to full, Wekiva comes in with a 5-9 record. They're 4-5 in their last 9 games, and they've won 2 in a row. Crooms 1-8, and that 12-4 score was also the closest any game has been for Crooms. And the inning will continue as Bandana walks Warren. Again, Bandana in relief of Reyes Mendez. This is only his 3rd batter that he faced, so no
Warren
stat.
walks to first. Next to the plate for the Panthers, right fielder number 14, Jesus Romero.
Romero, the 13th batter in this inning. A 1-0 lead taken by Crooms in the first. 7 runs pushed across the plate here in the second. And the first strike thrown to Romero, so that's good news, at least getting off on the right foot if you're Bandana. And Bandana will rip that second pitch foul. Also mention Wekiva, until 9 games ago, they were around 10. We'll get back to that as the swing and the miss.
To the end, or excuse me, the middle of the second inning. In that half inning, the Panthers scored 8 runs on 5 hits with no Mustang errors, leaving 3 on base. And the score now stands 8-0 at the end of an inning and a half. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mustang Field. As we enter the bottom of the second inning, the Mustangs will begin in the 5th position of their lineup with catcher number 2, Josiah McCoy. McCoy, of course, is also a member of the Mustang bullpen, and you see that sometimes where you'll have the same player who's skilled as a pitcher will also be a catcher in the rotation. A lot of the same skills, and if you understand the dynamics of pitching, you understand how to be on either the sending or the receiving end of it.
After McCoy, Rosado, the left fielder, and then Sanchez. And Wekiva has quite a bit of work to do. They're down 8-0 to the Crooms Panthers, who came in with a 1-8 record, scoring 1 run in the first. They scored 8 runs in the second inning, the inning we just completed, sent 13 batters to the plate. The good news, if you're Wekiva, is that their pitching staff did strike out all 3, got all 3 of the outs via the strikeout in that inning. But now, of course, they have some hitting to do as McCoy steps up his first at-bat of this game. And he's going to swing at that first pitch, lift it into foul territory, down third base and out of bounds. Gallant giving chase. So McCoy comes into today's game batting .243. He has 7 RBIs and a pair of doubles. And really, Mark, I know we're going to keep talking about this from this point on, but we have to. This is a surprise, an 8-0 lead. Crooms, a team that comes in 1-8 with that lead ahead of Wekiva, who comes in 5-9 and have won 4-5 of their last 9 games. So certainly a team that looked like they were improving, a team that you would think would be favored if there were any odds being made, as the count is now 1-1. On the mound for Crooms is Trepane, and that will bring the count to 1-2.
No, actually, Neil, that was a line out.
Oh, excuse me.
Line out catch is made to put one away for the Mustangs. Next to the plate for Wekiva is left fielder number 10, Ian Rosado. Yeah, that happened so fast that you easily might have thought that ball must have gone out of play, but it actually zipped right into the glove of third.
And Rosado will swing at the first pitch and get Wekiva's second hit of the game. He rounds first, and he's going to try to go for second, and it's going to be an easy tag. Or was he? Oh, he's...
All right. Extra base then, and next to the plate for the Mustangs, third baseman number 8, Jangle Sanchez. And there you go, Neil.
Okay.
It took him a while to be convinced, but he is going to make his way.
Yeah, that was actually, from my viewpoint, the ump was right in front.
Yeah, and it turns out, yeah, he is definitely safe. He gives his gloves to the assistant coach there, and so, yeah, that was not a great angle from us behind the backstop where we're positioned, but a gutsy play that pays off. And we'll get a called strike to open up this at-bat.
Yeah, this is Sanchez, the third baseman, and he is looking for his first hit of the game, too. Has scored a run. Wekiva down 8-0. They have a runner at second. That's Rosado, as the count will now go to
0-2.
0-2. We are at Mustang Field. 8-0 is the score. Crooms Academy with that lead. That will run the count to 1-2. Matt Trepane on the mound for the Crooms Panthers. And he comes in with a 5.25 ERA as he looks...
it gives the old stink eye to Rosado there.
No decision for Trepane. This is his 7th appearance on the season. And the count is now 1-2.
Now he will try to make the pick, and he will force Rosado to get his uniform dirty, but nothing more.
So 8-0 is the score, and that is a surprise given the records. 1-8 for Crooms, 5-9 for Wekiva, and Wekiva won 1 month ago, 12-4. As the swing and a miss by Sanchez, and that's 2 outs in the bottom of the second.
Actually, no, make it 3.
Oh, 3
as
outs.
The pick is made at third, and that takes us immediately to the end of the second inning. In that half inning, the Mustangs scoring no runs on 1 hit with no Panther errors, leaving none on base, and the score remains 8-0 at the end of 2 innings. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mustang Field. And we're going to get a quick out there. I didn't even have a chance to introduce him. That was Zrelic opens up the third inning in the ninth position of the lineup coming into the game and is thrown out at first, one away. Next at the plate, we go to the top of the card with shortstop number 2, Ryan Acevedo.
And Acevedo swing and miss on the outside heat from Bandana. 8-0 is the score. Crooms leading in the top of the third inning. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi, as the count is now 1-1. And Acevedo is 1 for 2. He was on base, though, the first time. Reached base on a throwing error and scored the first of the 8 runs and then doubled as he will take strike 2.
Swinging at that one, and it brings up a 12 count, and the Mustangs certainly hoping to stop the bleeding here in the third and hope that the second inning was an anomaly and not a trend.
That's Bandana scooping the ball up. Nice footwork to get off the mound. 2 up, 2 down. Much needed start to this third inning for the Mustangs.
Play is made from Bandana to Simon. 2 away for the Panthers. Next at the plate for Crooms, pitcher number 44, Matt Trepain.
Trepain comes in 0 for 1 today. He did bunt, got a sacrifice, and that allowed Acevedo to score the first run as he takes a mighty cut on the low inside heat. And then he walked and scored a run last inning. Crooms scoring 8 runs in the second inning, 7 runs in the second inning. They scored 1 run in the first. And another swing and a cut. So Reyes Munoz was your starter for Wekiva. He was replaced in that second inning by Bandana, who's now on the mound. And Bandana gets exactly what Wekiva needs. 3 up, 3 down, ending the inning with the K. 8-0 is the score. Crooms in the lead.
That takes us to the middle of the third inning. No runs scored on no hits with no errors, leaving none on base. As the Panthers go 3 up and 3 down, and the score remains 8-0 at the end of 2.5 innings. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mustang Field. As we enter the bottom of the third inning, the Mustangs will begin in the 8th position of their lineup with designated hitter number 24, Shannon Kemp. So this is a significant moment for the Mustangs. Kemp is the team manager and was actually added to the roster today for senior night.
France and Goodwin will follow, and did that hit? No, it hit the bat.
Okay, there. So foul brings him to an 0-2 count.
Kemp looked at the ump and said, "Come on, man." Or at least, gave him the "come on, man" look. When you're Wekiva, who's now facing an 8-0 lead, you try to get on base any way possible, and Kemp's going to swing and miss, and that'll retire the first batter in the top of the or bottom of the third.
Trepane records the swinging strikeout, one away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate for Wekiva, right fielder number 3, Ethan France.
The fourth strikeout of the day for Trepane. Ethan France comes in, and I believe this is his first at-bat of the season. Another player getting an opportunity here because it is senior night. And he is down 0-1, make that 0-2.
So, as we started to mention earlier, Neil, this is Senior Day, which is untraditional for a couple of reasons. First of all, this is actually not the last or even second to last home game of the year. That will take the count to 1 and 2 on the called strike. It is, I think, the third to last home game for baseball. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the problem is that the actual last home game of the year conflicts with softball's Senior Day. And they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to have to split and have, our attention divided on Senior Day, which is totally sensible, as we get a foul ball there to keep the count at 1 and 2. So we decided to do Senior Day today. The other thing that's a little bit untraditional about it is that it was not before the game. It is going to be after the game, and that is to make sure that more of our fans could be here. We know that 4 o'clock is an early start time, and it's tough for our fans to get there. That one's headed toward the fans. Unfortunately, misses everybody. Keeps it at a 1-2 count. But rather than do Senior Day at 3:30 in the afternoon and have parents struggle to get here from work and have, 6 people in the audience to watch, we said, we'll do it after the conclusion of the game, and that way more people will get to enjoy it with us. So that's coming up right after the game. Another foul there as France continues to fight to stay alive, working hard there behind the plate.
Yeah, 3 more games remain. And 1-2 is the count on France. He is the 9th batter in the lineup, 1 out. And a swing and a miss. And you could certainly tell France has not had a lot of opportunities.
Trepane records the swinging strikeout, 2 away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate for Wekiva, they return to the top of the card with center fielder number 1, C.J. Goodwin.
So Goodwin steps up. He batting .281 entering today's game. 12 runs and 2 triples, leading the team in runs in triples as well as runs. He is 0 for 1, struck out in his first at-bat in the first inning against Matt Trepane, who begins with ball 1, the outside pitch. And your last 2 batters, Kemp and France, since you were talking about senior night, they got an opportunity today because it was senior night. And I'm not sure exactly what the call was, but Goodwin will be out. I heard the ref yell, dead ball.
Yeah, I think they're calling a batter's interference call there. So that takes us to the end of the 3rd inning. And the Mustangs there, 3 up and 3 down. No runs, no hits, no errors. None left on base as the score remains 8-0 at the end of 3. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mustang Field as we enter the top of the 4th inning. The Panthers will begin in the third position of their lineup with third baseman number 8, Dylan Gallant.
And so with Gallant at the plate, his team, Crooms, holding a 8-0 lead. 7 runs pushed across the plate by Crooms in the second inning. They chased the starter, Reyes Munoz. On the mound now is Bandana, and he's going to begin with a shot hit by Gallant and a sweet play at second by Smythe.
Smythe makes the line-out catch. One away for the Panthers. Next at the plate will be first baseman number 30, Ethan Richards.
And so Gallant retired for the first time today. He had a single and a walk in his previous 2 at-bats. Smythe doing an excellent job at second baseman. Great anticipation and a nice slide 2 steps over to snag that hard-hit line drive. Richards steps up. He is 1 for 2 today, and he will look at ball 1 from Bandana, who came in relief in the second inning for Reyes Munoz. Richards grounded out to second in his first at-bat and then slashed a double as he takes a swing and misses. That'll bring the count to 0-2. That double brought in 2 RBIs in the second inning. And the count now remains
It'll be 1-2 after the foul.
at 1-2. The delivery from Bandana and a swing and a miss. So 2 up, 2 down.
Swinging strikeout recorded for Bandana to put 2 away for the Panthers. Next at the plate for Crooms, number 21, the catcher, Jacob Richards.
So Bandana has now retired 6 in a row after that just incredibly damaging second inning. He got the last out of the second inning and has retired 5 in a row, 3 in the third and 2 here in the fourth. And he will open with ball 1 on Richards, who is 0 for 1 today. Struck out and then was hit by a pitch. So Crooms fell 12-4 in the first 2 times these teams met, as the count will now go to 1-1. In a much different game. Now, admittedly, we are in the fourth inning, and so far it's been 1 inning which has really been the difference, as the count will now go to 1-2, a hitter's count for Bandana. But in that first game, which Wekiva won 12-0, Wekiva had 16 hits, 2 walks, and a hit batsman. So 19 base runners got on base. That was out of 38 plate appearances. And we're going to get a ball hit into right field. The inning will continue as Richard breaks that streak of 6 consecutive outs recorded by Bandana.
Richards is safe at first on the single into right center field. Next at the plate for the Panthers, center fielder number 5, Matt Dunlop.
So also in that first game, which Wekiva won 12-4 when these 2 teams played, the pitching has been completely different as Dunlop will be facing an 0-1 count. Hepburn started that game, Malachi Hepburn, and he was relieved in the 7th inning by Wyatt Smith. They gave up 5 hits and 3 walks while striking out 12. As that count will now be 1-1. Quick throw over to third, more of a I got my eye on you throw than really trying to get Richards out. So Dunlop, the center fielder, certainly contending for MVP honors today. 2 for 2, a double, a single. Scored a run and 2 RBIs, and he will look at strike 2. A 1-2 count, and that will bring the top of the fourth to an inning. Wekiva once again not letting this score go more than 8-0 on the Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network.
That takes us to the middle of the fourth inning. In that half inning, the Panthers scoring no runs on 1 hit with no Mustang errors, leaving 1 Panther on base. And now the score stands 8-0 at the end of 3.5. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mustang Field as we enter the bottom of the fourth inning. The Mustangs will begin in the second position of their lineup with second baseman, number 5, Wyatt Smythe, as we once again listen to the soothing sounds of the Star Wars Cantina theme.
And Smythe will be followed by Christian Vasquez and Demir Simon in the bottom of the fourth. And Wekiva facing an 8-0 lead as we approach the middle of this game. Actually, we are in the middle of the game. And a mighty swing and a miss. Matt Trepon on the mound. He's given up 2 hits, no runs for Crooms. And that will even the count at 1-1. If you tuned in late, the second inning was one of those innings where just nothing went right for Wekiva and everything went right for Crooms. 7 runs pushed across the plate. As Smythe fouls that off, hit our umpire. And this is going to take a couple of minutes. The umpire's going to have to walk that hit off. In the meantime, both teams take advantage of the break. Coach Scudero giving some last-minute advice to Smythe, who's now facing a 1-2 count. Smythe, 1 for 1 today. He singled in the first inning. Unfortunately, he was stranded there. And he will take strike 3. Stood there like the house on the side of the road on the curve. 1 out in the bottom of the fourth.
Trepane records the strikeout looking, 1 away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate for Wekiva, shortstop, number 21, Christian Vasquez.
So Wekiva, normally you wouldn't be saying this. We are getting into that territory where Wekiva needs to make something happen. But I would definitely say they are running out of outs as Vasquez takes ball 1. So Vasquez coming in today's game, batting .429, third on the team with 10 runs, second on the team, 12 hits. And he's going to make a bid for that 13th hit. Unfortunately, well positioned was Warren, who puts records the out, 2 up, 2 down in the top of the fourth.
Warren records the second out on the fly catch in center field. 2 away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate for Wekiva, first baseman, number 23, Demir Simon.
So Simon steps in. He is 0 for 1, struck out in his first at-bat, and he will look at strike 1. Matt Trepane on the mound for Crooms came in with a 5.25 ERA, looking for his first decision, and he has been solid. He has been money. 1-1 count on Simon. Simon not only has Trepane given up only 2 hits, but he struck out 5 batters. Mentioned Simon, one of those 5 Ks. 8-0 is the score. In the bottom of the fourth, Crooms win the lead, and, well, misplayed out there in right field by Ramiro. Maybe the sun had something to do with that. In either case, Wekiva with the base runner on first.
Simon is safe at first. Next at the plate for the Mustangs, catcher, number 2, Chizion McCoy.
So McCoy coming up, looking for his first hit of the day. He did hit the ball very hard in his first at-bat. Unfortunately, he hit it right to the second baseman, Warren, who was perfectly positioned and snagged the ball. And McCoy, first pitch swinging, 0-1 count. McCoy coming in with a .243 batting average, 7 RBIs and a pair of doubles on the season. And McCoy also comes off of a very good outing. He actually started and pitched. He was the starting pitcher against Oak Ridge, Wekiva's last outing. They won that game. And the second consecutive. So certainly giving hope to Wekiva entering today as he swings and misses in terms of the pitching. Wekiva, a very good hitting team. .299 entering today's game, but a 6.6 7.5 ERA. That ERA was lowered significantly by McCoy's performance, as the count now goes 2-2 against Oak Ridge. McCoy, only a freshman. And he will foul off another pitch, staying alive at the plate. 2-2 count. So McCoy against Oak Ridge went 6 innings, giving up 3 hits, 3 walks, 2 runs. Only 1 was earned with 5 strikeouts. And Wyatt Smythe came in and pitched the final inning to get the save. Of course, obviously, you don't need to be a baseball or sports guru to understand with the score 8-0. That is not the case today. Wekiva certainly not continuing its good play. And Wekiva and McCoy is going to catch a break there. Richards stumbling on that foul ball.
And Trepane couldn't get there in time, so no foul out. And in this case, McCoy will live to swing another bat. Runner at first, bottom of the 4th. Wekiva trailing 8-0 thanks to a killer inning earlier today for the Panthers.
Yeah, disastrous inning from the Wekiva perspective. The second, ball slashed down to third.
That is going to be fair, and the throw should be there, and it is. The play is made for the Panthers from Gallant to Richards, and that will take us to the end of the 4th inning. In that half inning, the Mustangs scored no runs, leaving us with an 8-0 score at the end of 4. All right, so no runs scored on no hits, 1 Panther error, and 1 left on base. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mustang Field. As we enter the top of the 5th inning, the Panthers begin in the 7th position of their lineup with second baseman number 4, Jordan Warren.
And Warren will be followed by Romero, the right fielder, and then McWilliams. In this game, the story of this game can be summed up in 2 words, Mark. Second inning scores 8-0, but 7 of those 8 runs were pushed across home plate by Crooms in that second inning. Only 1 of those 7 runs were unearned as well. So Wekiva, who is in the field now, we are in the top of the 5th inning, as Mark just mentioned, came in today on a 2-game winning streak, and they had won 4 out of their last 9 games, which I know is nothing to write home about, certainly nothing that stands out. But when you were playing the way Wekiva was, 4-5 is a reasonable expectation, and a goal to be met as the count is 0-1.
Now, that
And
one was in
certainly-
the dirt and a wild pitch, but nobody on, of course, to take advantage.
Certainly that 4-5 record gives hope and is some proof that the team is starting to play better. As this ball's lifted into center field, that's Goodwin called off by Rosado, who then drops the ball, the third error of the day for Wekiva.
Warren is safe at first. Next at the plate for the Panthers, right fielder number 14, Jesus Romero.
So Rosado, Goodwin, the center fielder, giving chase initially, caught off by Rosado. And the error, as Romero takes a high, hard one, strike one. He is 0 for 1 today, struck out in his last at-bat, but walked in his first at-bat and then scored. That was in the second inning. And he is now looking at an 0-2 count. 8-0 is the score. Crooms scoring 7 of those 8 runs in the second inning. We are in the top of the 5th. Bunt laid down by Romero. And certainly not a close pace at first, but that's the bunt that gets Warren over to second.
Play is made at first on the sacrifice bunt. One away for the Panthers. It does advance Warren to second. Next at the plate. Well, I'm waiting to call who's at the plate because they changed it at the last inning. There we go. Now I can see his number clearly. Now at the plate is number 32, Grayson Zrelek. So he came in the last time we went through the lineup. Not part of the original starting lineup.
Now, Zrelek coming in with an 0.71 batting average. So he's looking to find his sea legs, so to speak, at the plate. Number 32.
And he goes high to swat at that one.
Zrelek, a sophomore. Matchup here, Crooms and Wekiva, between two very young teams. Crooms, certainly the much younger team with 2 seniors compared to 7 for Wekiva. However, they have made the most of their opportunities. A disastrous second inning, as that will be the second strike on Zrelek.
Yep, again, reaching high to swat that one down and send it into the first base fence.
8-0 is the score. Crooms scoring 7 of those 8 runs in the second inning. They sent 13 batters to the plate in that inning.
Another chop. That one also goes foul toward the backstop.
This is Grayson Zrelek, the sophomore at the plate. He's pinch hitting in the number 9 spot. Bandana on the mound for Wekiva. He came in that second inning.
He wanted to. No.
McCoy.
McCoy trying a little bit of theatrics there, thinking maybe there was an uncaught third strike and you could maybe make a tag out, but no, that was called a ball, so it's still
McCoy,
2-2.
Those were theatrics, but that's what a catcher is taught to do, Mark. You try to frame that out.
Right, because the worst that happens is nothing.
Right. Look, you're down 8-0. If it was a tie ball game, nothing happens. But when you're 8-0, you certainly got nothing to lose. And the count is now full as Bandana gets his sign. Runner at first. Actually, runner at third. With 1 out.
Should be 6-3. And the play is there.
Vasquez doing a very nice job getting in front of that ball and keeping it in front of him.
Vasquez on the throw to Simon for the 6-3 ground out. 2 away now for the Panthers. Next at the plate for Crooms. They return to the top of the card with shortstop number 2, Brian Acevedo.
So Acevedo steps in. He is 1 for 3 today. He's been on base twice. Actually led off the game, reaching first on a throwing error by the shortstop Vasquez, who you just saw. He will take ball 1. He then doubled in that disastrous second inning. Again, 7 runs scored by Crooms, 7 of their 8 runs, as he takes a high, hard one. No dice. And that will even the count at 1-1. That double also brought in a run, and then he grounded out in his last at-bat. 2-1 count. Seven hits and 4 walks given up by the tandem, Wekiva Mustang tandem of Bandana and Reyes Munoz to Crooms. We will have a 2-2 count. A 2-1 count. 2-2 count as Acevedo steps back in. Pitch from Bandana, swing and a miss. And that will take us, nope. I guess that was tipped. So runner at third, 2 outs. Bandana's trying to keep the lead to 8-0. And no runs come in, but runners will be at first and third.
Acevedo walks to first. Next at the plate for the Panthers, pitcher number 44, Matt Trepane.
So Trepane steps in. He is 1 for 2 today. Actually 0 for 2. Bunt sacrifice in the first inning, which eventually led to Acevedo scoring the first Crooms run. Walk, scored a run, and struck out in his last at-bat. Throw down to second, the double steal on. And McCoy decided not to hold that ball. And most likely, Warren would have scored even if that error was not committed, but that error does allow Acevedo to go to third.
Romero scores, Acevedo at third, and a 1-0 count at the plate.
And that makes the score now 9-0 in the top of the fifth. As Trepane, the pitcher, fouls off his first pitch. Trepane, an excellent job today. One of those pitching performances that you look back and say, that was money. 2 hits, no walks.
It's going to third. He's going to try to make the play at first. Can he get there? It is beaten. Trepane with a single RBI as he beats the throw to first base and scores another run for the Panthers. Next at the plate, third baseman number 8, Dylan Gallant. So, boy, that was a close one.
And Gallant takes strike 1. He's had a good day as well. 1 for 2. A single RBI in the first, a walk and an RBI, and then a line drive. Hit the ball hard even though he got out.
And so the last 2 runs scored by the Mustangs trying to do the riskier thing and failing. In both cases, Wekiva knew they had a runner who was in scoring position on third base and threw the ball away from home, trying to get an out and end the half inning. But with that failing to convert, they ended up allowing a run instead. First with the throwing error on the stolen base, and now with the attempt to make the play at first.
Gallant facing an 0-2 count. He'll take ball 1, quick throw down to first. And I know McCoy is only a freshman. I know he doesn't have a lot of playing experience being a freshman, but again, that was really a bad decision on his part to try to get the runner up going to second, stealing the base. Acevedo's Gallant will hit that ball out of bounds. McCoy is the regular catcher for Wekiva, and I'm not sure exactly why he threw that ball down to second. You know, I've seen him pretty much most of the time just eat the ball in that situation. As Gallant with the swing and a miss, Wekiva gets out of the inning, but damage has been done. 2 unearned runs, 9-0 is the score heading into the bottom of the fifth.
In that half inning, the Panthers pick up 2 runs on 1 hit with 1 Mustang error, leaving 1 on base, and the score now stands 10-0 at the end of 4.5 innings. Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the middle of the fifth inning, and you all know what that means. It's time for the fifth inning stretch. So stand up, stretch your legs, and join us now for Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back, for it's root for the Mustangs. If they don't win, it's a shame, for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mustang Field. As we enter the bottom of the fifth inning, the Mustangs begin in the sixth position of their lineup with left fielder number 10, Ian Rosado.
And as we begin the top of the fifth, that was Mark Barchi. I'm Neil Fisher. A head scratcher here at Mustang Field as Rosado takes a swing on the inside pitch.
And now Wekiva, where we thought that this was a game that Wekiva would be favored to win, and they are now staring down the barrel of a 10-run rule.
Yeah, 10-0 the score, which means Wekiva has to push across at least one run
in order to keep the game alive.
Sanchez and Kemp due up next. Matt Trepane on the mound for Crooms Academy. He has been money. 2 hits, no walks. As the count is now 1-2. 6 strikeouts. He's on the verge of a 7th with Rosado. Only 3 batters have reached base for Wekiva, as that will even the count at 2-2. And we say it's a head scratcher. Number 1, Wekiva beat Crooms Academy 1 month ago, March 5th, 12-4. As the count now goes full, 3-2. The records are 1-8 for Crooms, Wekiva 5-9, and actually that was ball 4. So Wekiva might still have hope of avoiding the 10-run rule.
Rosado walks to first. Next to the plate for the Mustangs, third baseman number 8, Jangle Sanchez.
So you also look at the stats, some other stats. Crooms came into this game. They've scored only 29 runs, given up 114. While Wekiva has scored 87, almost 3 times more than Crooms, and given up 120. So the runs scored against are about the same, but Wekiva scoring 3 times more. And that 12-4 victory over Wekiva, that was the least amount of runs that Crooms has given up this season, while the 4 runs was the most scored. As Sanchez, who's 0 for 1 today, takes ball 1. So all the stats certainly favored Wekiva, and that'll even the count at 1-1. But that has not been the case. A disastrous second inning really put Crooms in control of this game. They scored 7 runs, 6 of which were earned. But if you take that away, you're still looking at a 4-0 lead. Excuse me, a 3-0 lead. And again, Trey Pan has silenced the Wekiva offense, holding them to only 2 runs while striking 2 hits while striking out 6, and only 1 walk. Slashed into left field, and Wekiva showing signs of life here in the top of the 5th, down 10-0.
Sanchez with the single grounder into left field. He's safe at first. That puts runners at 1 and 2 for designated hitter number 24, Shannon Kemp.
So Kemp stepping into the plate. He is 0 for 1 today, his first at bat. He's actually a manager, getting an opportunity today because it's senior night, and he'll swing and miss at that first one. Now we are at least seeing some signs of life here in the top of the or bottom of the fifth. In that game on March 5th, the Mustangs did score 10 runs in the last 3 innings against Crooms, so perhaps we're seeing the start of deja vu. And now an 0-2 count to Kemp. Runners at first and second, nobody out. The first 2 batters in the top of the fifth have reached base. Wekiva trailing 10-0 and facing the 10-run rule. Oh, Wekiva getting a break there, a double break. As Rosado was clearly caught off base, but the throw was low, and then Acevedo unable to corral it. So you'll have a runner at first and third now with nobody out, but Kemp still facing that 0-2 count.
Actually make that second and third.
Okay, Sanchez also on the move. Kemp doing just enough to stay alive with that 0-2 count. So now the good news by Rosado and Sanchez leading off this inning, getting on base, is that Wekiva will have an opportunity to get back to the top of the lineup. Chris Goodwin, the leadoff hitter in the double on deck circle. Kemp steps back in facing that 0-2 count, gets Matt Trepane, and he goes down swinging. But the ball is dropped, and Wekiva's going to catch yet another break.
Oh, and you can see Richards is not happy about that. Shannon Kemp is safe at first on the uncaught third strike, and the Mustangs get a runner home.
And so, Mark, we will play beyond 5 innings. The score now 10-1. And FHSAA, Florida High School Athletic Association rules are if a team is leading by at least 10 runs after 5 innings, the game is over, and the team with the lead gains a victory. But the run now cuts the lead to 10-1, 9 runs, and Wekiva taking advantage, turning a couple of mistakes by Crooms into that run. Rosado leading off the top of the fifth with a walk, so that was your first mistake. That was also the first base on balls given up by Matt Trepane.
Yeah, we've got a trainer looking at Richards right now as he went down hard, I think, into the base as he tried to make that dive. I don't think he was expecting that play, and so that'll register as, let's see, Neil, does a safe on an uncaught third strike, would that register as an error?
Yes, that is. Yeah. That does count as an error.
So that'll be their 5th of the game if I've been keeping count correctly. Next at the plate for the Mustangs, right fielder number 3, Ethan France. And also we have a pinch runner in at first.
So after Rosado drew the walk, the first of the game given up by Trepane, Sanchez then singled, and of course now you just saw the strikeout, what should have been at first out, dropped, and France is going to
put in play. Well, no, it's not either. It does roll afoul of the third baseline. It looked like it was going to be fair, but then it looked like a bowling curve. It veered left of third, and so
Kemp reaching base on the drop third strike. The run coming in when the ball was thrown wide of Richards at first. France getting some wood on the ball, and the throw's going to come back home and score the second run for Sanchez. For Wekiva, Sanchez scoring the run, 10-2.
Sanchez comes home as France beats the throw to first. And now the Mustangs return to the top of the card with center fielder number 1, C.J. Goodwin. Well, that's kind of a shocking turn of events, Neil. That's actually almost exactly the same mistake that Wekiva made in the last half inning, where they decided to try to make the risky play at first and left home open. and then got caught that way. So
Yeah, 10-2 is the score. The good news, if you're Wekiva, you have avoided the game coming to an end after 5 innings due to the 10-run rule. Bad news is you still have to make up 8 runs.
yeah, that's right. I mean, a loss in 7 goes on the record the same as a loss in 5.
And another mistake. Romero dropping what should have been the second out. I'm not sure what happened there. It was right in his webbing. And so now Crooms, which has certainly played a couple levels above what you'd think with a 1-8 record, is now starting to make those mistakes.
Next to the plate for the Mustangs, second baseman, number 5, Wyatt Smythe.
And remember, there is only 1 out. We are in the top of the 5th. 10-2 is the score. Smythe will step in. He has gotten 1 of the 2 hits, actually 3 hits now, given up by Matt Trepane. He singled in the first inning. Unfortunately, he was stranded at third. And, you know, at the time, it didn't seem like that big a deal, Mark, but being stranded at third might be a big deal when it's all said and done.
Yeah, well, I mean, looking at it, you've got 6 errors now for the Panthers, 3 for the Mustangs, many of them consequential on both sides.
Yeah, that is actually the one constant from the first game these two teams played exactly 1 month ago on March 5th. The 11 errors were committed in total. 6 by Wekiva, 5 by Crooms in that game.
Well, look, my inning indicator finally got unstuck. It's been showing the top of the 5th for the first half of the half inning, and then finally it's now showing correctly bottom of the 5th, which is where we are.
So Crooms up to this point has been able to minimize their errors. The 2 errors in this inning, though, have been deadly. They've led to both of the runs, a drop third strike on Shannon Kemp, and then Romero dropping what should have been an easy out in right field as Smythe swings, fouls off, 0-1 count.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Neil, but I don't recall having an out yet this inning.
No, there is 1 out.
1 out, okay.
Ethan France did bring in the second run with a ground out to the shortstop, Acevedo. Another foul ball. That will bring the count to 0-2. Smythe actually batting .500 entering today's game. However, he has only been up to the plate 2 official at-bats, 1 for 2. And this will be his 7th official plate appearance. He's mostly seen action on the mound. Of course, he's been their main reliever as the count is now 1-2. Matt Trepane on the mound, and he's been solid despite giving up the 2 runs, both unearned. And this time he will not be able to come through. Smythe lashing a single into left field, 10-3.
Smythe with an RBI single that keeps the bases loaded as the Mustangs send home 1 run.
So Shannon Kemp scored that run on the single by Smythe.
Next at the plate, shortstop number 21, Christian Vasquez.
Which means not only was that drop third strike on Kemp avoided an out, as strike 1, Vasquez swinging at a pitch outside, but now Kemp gets on base and then he comes out around the bases and winds up scoring. So a triple blow on that drop third strike for Crooms. As Vasquez swings and misses again. Vasquez 1 for 2 today. Actually 0 for 2, excuse me. And he came into today's game 3rd on the team in batting average, .429, 3rd for hits with 12, and 2nd with runs for 10, the sure-handed shortstop. And he'll do just enough to stay alive. Count remains at 0-2. 10-3 is the score. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Wekiva with runners at 1st and 3rd and only 1 out in the middle of the lineup after Vasquez, who's batting 3rd. Simon, the cleanup hitter, and then McCoy, the number 5 hitter. The delivery from Trepane. Ball 1, tried to get McCoy to chase. Vasquez to chase, who had none of it. So Wekiva has at the very least avoided the 10-run rule. They were down 10-0. Ball 2, 2-2 count. And again, only one out, so they still have an opportunity to cut further into that lead. When these two teams played exactly 1 month ago, Wekiva won 12-4. They scored most of their runs in the last 3 innings. That trend seems to be continuing. The ball gets by McWilliams. That'll lead to another run, maybe even 2. Yes, 2, no throw home, and a triple for Vasquez on a 2-strike count.
Christian Vasquez picks up the Mustang triple, and it's a 3 RBI.
So as Mark said, 3 RBIs from Vasquez, the senior coming through with a 2-strike count. Runner at third, 1 out. 10-6 is the score. Crooms in the lead.
And we're going to pause here for a conference at the pitcher's mound. And it looks like we may actually have a pitching change. Now on the pitcher's mound for the Panthers, number 30, Ethan Richards. And so Trepane, who had such a great start to today's game, will now finally be relieved as Richards comes off of first base to replace him. And it looks like Matt Dunlop now is going to be on first. And clearly the Panthers are thinking like, oh gosh, we may not only are we in danger of not being able to end this game in 5 innings, we're in danger of not being able to win this game at all if the momentum continues in the way that it has.
So what I was saying before Vasquez lashed that triple, Wekiva won that game one month ago, March 5th, by 12-4 score. That game was actually 2-2 heading into the 5th inning. And Wekiva scored 10 runs in the 5th, 6th, and 7th inning combined. So certainly looks like we're on track for deja vu. We are in the 5th inning. Wekiva had not scored a run. Now they pick up 6. They have gotten 3 hits, 1 walk, and have been aided by 2 errors. Both those errors are very costly. Of course, perhaps you could even say, and I think a lot of coaches would agree, the most costly error, though, was the walk Ian Rosado drew to begin this inning. So, which also was the first time today Wekiva's gotten its leadoff hitter on. And just like that, Wekiva looked like they had no life, and suddenly they looked like the second coming.
Yeah, now the top of the second for Crooms has become the bottom of the 5th for Wekiva.
Yeah, Crooms scored 7 runs. They scored 7 of their 10 runs in that second inning, and 6 of them were actually earned. So it was the pitching that let Wekiva down.
Next at the plate for the Mustangs, with Ethan Richards now on the mound, will be first baseman number 23, Demir Simon.
Crooms also scored a run in the first inning. That was unearned as Ryan Acevedo reached base on a throwing error to the shortstop Vasquez, and then they scored 2 more runs to give them the total of 10 in the top of the 5th, the last inning. So Simon steps in. He is 0 for 2 today. Struck out, reached base on a fielding error. The right fielder, Romero, dropping a fly ball, and he's going to go back down right field, but too far right. Simon coming into today's game, a very impressive .320 batting average. 8 RBIs. And we've talked about this all season, and today, Wekiva, excellent batting team, as I believe we have a balk.
Yep, that's exactly right, Neil.
And that will cut the lead to 10-7.
Christian Vasquez comes home on the balk.
So that's not officially recorded as an error, but certainly a mistake.
So now, officially, Wekiva has equaled Crooms' performance from the top of the second here in the bottom of the 5th. And so now Wekiva just needs to make up 3 more runs.
So Wekiva's problem, or their weak part of their game, has been pitching. They came in with a 6.75 ERA as Simon swings and misses. And that ERA actually went down quite a bit. It was around 10 about 9 games ago. But batting average is what's carried them to their 5 victories. They're .299, .426 on-base percentage. And we're going to get more contact. And that's just foul.
Yeah, that looked pretty. It just couldn't quite stay inside the third baseline.
Couple inches foul. Unfortunately, that does make the count 0-2 for Simon. .299 batting average. And certainly Wekiva was not willing to go into that good night when it came to the batting average. They were silenced through the first 4 innings. They have come alive and then some here in the top of the 5th, putting 7, and Simon will remain at the plate with an 0-2 count. Wekiva has also pushed 87 runs across the plate in their 14 games. Simon takes high and inside, 1-2 count. So nobody on base as the balk allowed Vasquez to come home, but only 1 out. And now the count will be 2-2. And just also want to send a shout out. I'm Neil Fisher. Mark Barchi is the other voice. He's also the public address announcer. And Keith Dickerson, the head of the broadcast production department at Wekiva, is handling the video aspects of our broadcast. And Richards unable to get that 3rd strike. Simon staying alive. Richards, 7 2/3 inning pitch. 14 hits. He's given up 17 runs, 13 earned, 9 walks, 6 strikeouts. And he does have an 11.87 ERA.
And now picking up another ball brings us to a full count. So to recap, for those of you just joining us, it looked like we were going to have a 10-run rule. It looked like we were going to be halfway through senior night by now if Crooms had been able to put 3 up and 3 down. And oh my goodness, chopping at that one. And an easy play made at first. The uncaught 3rd strike, the play made at first on the throw to Gallant. Next at the plate for the Mustangs will be catcher number 2, Josiah McCoy.
And Josiah McCoy will come up to the plate with nobody on base and 2 outs. So Simon, as you mentioned, Mark, swinging at a bad pitch, got over anxious, and Richards taking advantage.
Yeah, it looked like a golf swing.
Simon
Strike 1.
takes strike 1. McCoy. McCoy 0 for 2 today, hitting the ball hard his first at bat, but snagged by the second baseman and grounding out to third. And now he faces an 0-2 count.
See, I don't know, Neil, whether you want to say Wekiva is stealing victory from the jaws of defeat or Crooms is stealing defeat from the jaws of victory, but one way or the other, a significant turn of the tide here, although, again, hasn't turned far enough to give Wekiva the lead, but has certainly put them in a position where they can remain competitive in this ball game going into the late innings.
Yeah, certainly hope stays alive as the count is now 1-2. And this is the 9th batter, Josiah McCoy, in this inning. Lifts that ball up to second. It's going into no man's land. Caught. Yes, Warren doing an excellent job of backtracking, looking into that sun and the ball into his eye.
Play is made on the fly catch by Jesus Romero. Next at the plate for the Mustangs, with 2 away now. And checking into the lineup here, number 10, Ian Rosado.
And this inning began with Rosado. He drew the walk and wound up scoring Wekiva's first run as he looks at ball 1. He also has doubled, so Rosado, up to now, he is leading in on-base percentage as he takes a mighty cut. That'll bring the count to 1-1. He walked in he singled or doubled in his other at-bat. And now he will face a 1-2 count. Ethan Richards on the mound, the junior, who began the game at first base. He replaced Matt Trapon Trey Payne, who was cruising along until this 5th inning started, giving up no runs and only 2 hits. A 1-2 count to Rosado, who lays off that high, hard one on the inside. 2-2.
Keep in mind, most of the damage that the Mustangs have done in this inning was before they got their first out. Another high pitch, and just like that, we've got a full count as Rosado battles his way back from a tough start to this at-bat.
Yeah, and that first out was a ground out to shortstop by Ethan France, and the inning comes to an end. Wekiva able to cut significantly into that lead. The offense coming alive.
That takes us to the end of the 5th inning. In that half inning, the Mustangs scoring 7 runs on 2 hits with 2 Panther errors, leaving none on base. And the Mustangs are back in it, trailing by 3. 10-7 is the score at the end of 5 innings. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mustang Field.
Ethan Richards at the mound. Wekiva cutting a 10-0 lead to 10-7 in the bottom of the 5th. Ethan Richards at the plate. That's Bandana on the mound for Wekiva, the second Mustang pitcher. And a 1-1 count now. So not only did Wekiva avoid this game being over after 5, the 10-run rule was in effect if Wekiva had not scored, as the count goes 2-1. But Wekiva has forged its way into an opportunity to win, only 3 runs down, and certainly its high-flying, high-powered offense finding life in that 7th inning, or 5th inning. Bandana with the delivery to Richards, and a swing and a miss. That'll even the count at 2-2. Richards, who is now pitching for Crooms, he's 1 for 3 today, grounded out to second, doubled in the second, bringing in 2 runs, and struck out in the 4th, his last at bat, and he will make that 2 consecutive strikeouts, 1 out in the top of the 6th.
Bandana records the swinging strikeout to put 1 away for the Panthers. Next at the plate for Crooms, number 21, the catcher Jacob Richards.
So Richards steps up to the plate. He's 1 for 2 today. Struck out, hit by bat, and then singled in his last at bat. Bandana taking over with 2 outs in the 2nd inning. And he has done a very good job of keeping Wekiva, at least setting him up to the point where that 7 runs matter. The 7 runs that Wekiva scored in the bottom of the 5th matter, as the ball. A 1-0 count. Make that 2-0 to Richards. Crooms scoring 7 of the 10 runs in the 2nd inning. They sent 14 batters to the plate, actually 13 batters, 1-2 count. And Bandana's given up only 2 hits. And this should be the 2nd out of the inning, giving chases.
Wow, that was almost disastrous, but
Simon.
The play is made by Wyatt Smythe on the fly catch, and that puts 2 away for the Panthers. Next at the plate will be center fielder, number 5, Matt Dunlop.
So Bandana taking the mound, needing a 1-2-3 inning. Of course, if you're Wekiva, the object is to get 1, 2, 3 in the 6th and the 7th. Give your team an opportunity to score those 3 runs.
And for a second there, I thought Smythe was going to trip over Simon, but managed to hold it together as we got a 1-0 count.
To be honest, that is not as easy as a play as it seems, and I'm speaking as a former second baseman. First of all, you have to figure out who's going to catch the ball, as the count is now 1-1.
Yeah, and you don't get a lot of time when the ball's hit there. I mean, when it goes to the outfield and goes high, you know, the outfielders have, 2 or 3 seconds to chat with each other and make a decision. But when it's going to second, you've got very little time to decide.
2-1 count on Dunlop, who is 2 for 3 today, a double in the 2nd inning. He eventually scored, singled in the 2nd as well, came up twice and then struck out, and he's going to lift that ball down the right field. France unable to judge it correctly, and a stand-up double for Dunlop, 3 for 4 now.
Matt Dunlop doubles his way through right field into second base. Next at the plate for the Panthers, number 4, the second baseman, Jordan Warren.
That's the 2nd double of the season for Dunlop. And stepping in now, Warren, as Mark just said. He is actually 3 for 3 today on base. Singled, scored a run in the 2nd inning, walked, and reached base in the last inning on an error, a fielding error by the left fielder, Rosado, and he eventually scored. That made the score 9-0 at the time. So as he takes ball 1, that run might come back to roost for Wekiva, given that a 10-0 lead was cut to 10-7 in the bottom of the 5th by Wekiva. Ball lifted again into center field, right, long run, and nobody's going to get it. Falls between Goodwin and France. And 11-7 as Dunlop comes in on the double by Warren, who's now 4 for 4 on base today.
Warren with an RBI double into right center field, and that will score Dunlop. We pause for a Mustang timeout.
And so Wekiva had 2 outs, Bandana getting those first 2 outs on a strikeout and a line drive, and now consecutive doubles. And maybe we should have kept our mouth shut, Mark, but we did mention that if you're Wekiva, it's expedient, it's of the utmost necessary to get 1, 2, 3 innings. And then the 2 doubles came up.
Yeah, so a conference here probably needed as the Mustangs try to hold this together. They had certainly new life breathed into their cause in the bottom of the 5th, and now they want to make sure that that momentum does not slip away.
And that ball by Warren was not hit particularly hard. It was just well positioned between France and Goodwin in right field and center field as Ramiro takes strike 1. He is 0 for 2 today. Walked in the second and scored a run. Seems like everybody on Crooms scored a run in the second. They put 7. Struck out and then a bunt sacrifice. And just out of the reach of Smythe. And another error. Goodwin overrunning the ball. And that's going to lead to a 12-7 lead.
So, Neil, are you going to score the initial strike as a hit?
Yeah, that was a seeing eye single just out of the reach of Smythe. Even if he was able to come up with it, it would have been very difficult to make the throw in time. And then the error by Goodwin allowing the run to score. And that will bring up Keelan McWilliams. Actually, excuse me, that is Grayson
now at the point
Zrelak.
For the Panthers, number 32, Grayson Zrelak.
And Zrelak comes in. He came in and pinched hit for McWilliams in the 5th inning, grounding out to the shortstop. So Wekiva, as you mentioned, Mark, found new life. Not only in terms of winning this game, but the offense, which had only come up with 2 hits, scored 7 runs and got 3 hits. Quick throw to first. And boy, Simon doing a great job of preventing the runner. That's Romero at first from going to second. Romero's still down. And now he starts to get up. Now he's at his feet. So Wekiva finding life in its last half of the inning, the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, now with that last hit that went just out of reach of Smythe, I have that as 8 hits. Does that track with what you have, Neil, for the game?
Actually, I have 10 hits.
10, wow, okay. I just didn't hit the button a couple times. So that's 10 hits, and on the Mustangs side, I have 5.
Yeah, 5 for the Mustangs and 10 for Crooms. Zrelak hitting that ball into the hole. Vasquez scooting over.
Ooh.
Long throw off target and short. And now they got the runner caught in a rundown. An error. And Coach DiNapoli says to the ump he should be getting home plate, and the ump agrees.
Yeah, when you throw it in the dugout, that's an automatic extra base.
So
Romero scores. And with the ball in the dugout, Zrelak will advance to third. Next at the plate, the Panthers return to the top of the card with shortstop number 2, Ryan Acevedo. So several mistakes made there. The first was, I think the right play there would have been to make the fielder's choice at second rather than trying to make the play at first. Then, of course, you had the throwing error coming back. Then, I don't know, Neil, that's at least 1.5 errors, if not 2.
So I give McWilliams a single as the count is now 1-1 to Acevedo, who is 1 for 3 today, reached base twice on a double in the second and a walk. A single, even if Vasquez had been able to field that ball cleanly and went to second, it would have been very close. 1-2 count, but then certainly the run came in on the throwing error.
So we'll score it as just 1 hit and 1 error, but in a sense there was a little bit of slapstick comedy involved in that whole turn of events.
Yeah, Abbott and Costello, Laurel and Hardy certainly would have had some fun with that.
So the ball
2-2 count.
Low and inside.
And a 13-7 lead by Crooms. It was 10-7 going into this inning. Wekiva actually doing severe damage. A 10-0 lead cut to 10-7, and perhaps most importantly was an offense which came into today's game being .299, came to life, dropped third strike, and is that the end of the? Yes, it is the end of the inning.
The play is made at first base after the uncaught third strike. The throw is made to Galland, and that takes us to the middle of the 6th inning. In that half inning, the Panthers scoring 3 runs on how many hits, Neil? 4 hits, with 2 Mustang errors, leaving 1 on base, and now the score stands 13-7 at the end of 5.5 innings. We'll be right back. As we enter the bottom of the 6th inning, the Mustangs will begin in the 7th position of their lineup with third baseman number 8, Jangle Sanchez.
13-7 is the score. Crooms in the lead as Sanchez swings and fouls off the first pitch in 0-1 count. Ethan Richards continues on the mound for Crooms. He came in the last inning, and he quickly gets ahead of Sanchez, 0-2. So that last inning, 2 errors were committed by Wekiva. 3 runs in total were scored. 2 were unearned because of those 2 errors by Wekiva. As Richards delivers, and Sanchez lays off the high heat.
Yeah, that's a smart decision as he was behind and really close, but he saw that coming in a little high.
And the 1-2 count from Richards.
Pops that one.
Up the middle, seeing eye single. And Wekiva gets exactly what it needs in the top of the 6th.
Sanchez with a single grounder to center field. He's safe at first. Next to the plate for the Mustangs, number 14, checking into the lineup, Greg Jones. So Jones checks in for Shannon Kemp. Kemp, of course, the team manager who was added into the lineup today in honor of Senior Day. And then he was taken out as the pinch runner came in when he got on base in the 5th inning.
Jones looks at ball 1. Jones batting .267 for the day. He is only a freshman. As Mark mentioned, he is one of the regular starters taken out today because of Senior Day. Opportunity to do some damage for Wekiva. And so far, so good if you're Jones and Wekiva, the 2-0 count. So Wekiva, through the first 4 innings, had not been able to get their leadoff hitter on. The last 2 innings, the 5th and the 6th, they have gotten the leadoff hitter on. As Jones takes strike 1, 2-1 count. And Wekiva now facing a 13-7 deficit. Crooms is the opposition. The 2 teams played 1 month ago. Wekiva won 12-4. A break for Wekiva, the pass ball.
And yep, that'll be an extra easy base for Sanchez, so that puts a runner on second now. If you didn't hear us mention it before, this is Senior Day, and so we have some extra innings coming to you, no matter what the score is. We are going to have our senior night recognition ceremony. We have 7 young men who will be recognized tonight. That's going to be immediately after the conclusion of the game. It will be on its own separate live stream. The reason we do that is to make it easy for those who want to come back 10 years from now and rewatch just senior night. Wild pitch, ball 4. Jones walks to first, and the wild pitch will give an extra base to Sanchez as well. Runners at 1 and 3 now. And next at the plate for the Mustangs, right fielder number 3, Ethan France.
So France steps into the plate, and he will be charged with the task of keeping Wekiva's offensive momentum going. Again, Wekiva, no runs, 2 hits through the first 4 innings. They got 3 hits and 7 runs, albeit 3 of them earned in the last inning, the bottom of the 5th. 13-7 is the score. Runners at first and third, nobody out. France steps into the plate.
Chop at that, and so yeah, the foul ball will send the runner back. Honestly, if he hadn't swung at that, I think it would have been a stolen base. But as it stands, it'll be an 0-1 count. And actually, of course, because we're making the unusual step of holding senior night after the game rather than before, I had to schedule that somewhere. And so it's at 6 o'clock on the schedule, that live stream. And, of course, we're now going to be late for that. That was a guess. And as it looked going into the 5th inning, with going 3 up and 3 down on both sides for a couple of innings in a row, it looked like we were going to be out of here pretty fast today. And now here we are at 6:15. And still now only in the bottom of the 6th inning. So the overall pace of the game has slowed quite a bit as both teams have been suffering defensively. There goes the steal, and a swing and a miss, so no contact made. So that means that Jones will get to keep that stolen base. But it is an 0-2 count for France at the plate as he's chased a couple of them really low in a row here.
Made a half-hearted attempt. This time he lays off of the same exact pitch.
Yeah, well, that one was maybe even yet 6 inches shorter than the last one was.
Yeah, well, I don't blame Richards. If he goes for the first 2, why not try for the third? France is 0 for 2 today, struck out, but he did get an RBI in his last at-bat, grounding out to short. 13-7 is the score. Bottom of the 6th. Crooms in the lead. And that is a strikeout.
Richards records the swinging strikeout to put 1 away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate, Wekiva returns to the top of the card with center fielder number 1, C.J. Goodwin. So yeah, a couple of peculiar-looking swings in a row there as France kind of wound up a little tightly. And so he'll strike out, 1 away. And now the Mustangs' leadoff hitter is back in rotation. Runners at 2 and 3 for the Mustangs. And a wild pitch is going to give an opportunity to score a run. And indeed they do. So Sanchez comes home for the Mustangs.
So not the prettiest, the most aesthetically pleasing way to score a run. But Wekiva needed to score runs, and they get the job done. As they say, it don't matter how pretty they are. They all count the same.
Yeah, and I mean, now we're seeing a similar problem to what Reyes Muniz had early in the game, that what started out as a great pitching day for Crooms, first with Trepane and now with Richards, unravel. As you see, of course, stamina is a challenge for any pitcher at any level, but particularly at the high school level with younger players.
Goodwin lifts that ball into foul territory, and fortunately for Wekiva, it's right up against the wall.
Yeah, that was technically catchable, but they would have needed to take off a little earlier. Romero there in right field.
Yeah, remember the sun is going straight out to right field, so it's not the easiest vision out there in right field.
Yeah, when we put the press box camera up, you can really get a sense of how long those shadows are.
So you mentioned, Mark, some mistakes by Crooms. Last inning it was errors, as 3 were committed by Crooms. This inning it's been the wild pitch and the pass ball, 3 in total. 13-8 is the score. Wekiva trying to rally from a 10-0 deficit after 4 innings, and that will even the count to C.J. Goodwin at 2-2.
And a little bit of a heart-stopping moment for the Panthers, as that was not returned cleanly, but they were able to keep it under well enough control that nothing could happen at third.
Count is 1-2. And the pitch from Richards is coming in relief. And
chopping at that one, and it's going to drop foul of the third base line. Just keeps us at a 1-2 count. And Neil, I'll be completely honest, I am not super familiar with the Panthers. I do not know how deep their bullpen goes, that if Trepain is worn out and Richards runs out of gas, I don't know what their third option is.
Well, if you go by innings pitched, that would be Gallant, the freshman. He's gone 12 2/3 inning. And another drop third strike. And then an error, 13-9. And not only is the lead cut to 13-9, but Goodwin will take second. Only 1 out. And if you recall, that was a key play back in the 5th inning when Wekiva cut that 10-0 lead to 10-7. Kemp reaching base on a drop third strike and eventually scoring, and Goodwin getting the second drop third strike break.
Next to the plate for the Mustangs, second baseman number 5, Wyatt Smythe. So the Star Wars Cantina music feels somehow appropriate for the way this game is going, Neil.
Yeah, Smythe steps in. He's actually 2 for 3 today, a single in his first and third at-bats. Also got an RBI in his last at-bat, which was during the 7-run 5th. Struck out in between. So Wekiva continues the pressure. Runner at second. Only 1 out. 13-9 is the score. Wekiva, for whatever reason, did not have their offense today. They were down 10-0 at the end of 4 runs, scored 7 runs in the 5th, sent 10 batters to the plate. They then gave up 3 runs in the top of the 6th, and they've scored, countered with 2 so far here in the bottom of the 6th to bring the score to 13-9, and that is an 0-1 count on Wyatt Smith. Excuse me, a 1-0 count on Wyatt Smith. Christian Vasquez, who tripled, the biggest hit of the game so far, next.
And 2 balls opening up here.
Yeah, Vasquez's triple in the last inning counted for 3 runs. He then came home on a balk. So there were 4 of the 7 runs scored in that 5th inning for Wekiva. And catches the inside corner. Richards came in with 1 out in the bottom of the 5th. That was the last inning. And he delivers high. As Goodwin at second base, he reached base on a drop third strike and then moved to second on a throw. 3-1 count to Smythe, the number 2 hitter. And we will now have a full count.
So yeah, I mean, both on the Crooms side, both Trepain and Richards had really strong starts for the Panthers today, but have kind of faltered. Trepain, as he got later into his tenure in the 4th and 5th innings, started to show signs of fatigue, and now Richards starting to show signs of fatigue. And a swing and a miss. Retires the batter. Richards records the swinging strikeout to put 2 away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate for Wekiva, shortstop, number 21, Christian Vasquez.
So Vasquez, the last hope for Wekiva. They have answered somewhat, cutting the lead from 13-7 to 13-9, but still, they're still behind. Vasquez, as we mentioned, with the biggest hit of the game in terms of the impact, individual impact of the hit. A triple in the fifth, his last at bat. 3 RBIs came in, and then he came home on a balk. Wekiva scoring 7 runs in that inning to give him some life. What appeared to be a 10-run game, 10-run rule game. Vasquez now facing a 2-0 count. He is also 1 for 3 on the day and came in batting .429, third on the team.
And Vasquez there clearly wanted time but couldn't get the umpire's attention. He manages to swing for a foul in spite of that.
Count now 2-1.
2-1. So one thing that Wekiva has guaranteed is that they are going to get a full regulation game out of this. We are going to play 7 innings.
Yeah.
The question, though, is, who's going to run out of gas first? Both teams are showing signs of pitching fatigue, and you can see that as the scores have run up on both sides over the last couple of innings. That's going to third base. And it is wide of first base. The Mustangs are going to score another run. C.J. Goodwin comes home.
And Vasquez will go to second. So once again, just when you think all hope is lost, Mark, Wekiva pulls the old rabbit out of the hat.
C.J. Goodwin scores. Vasquez is safe at second. Next at the plate for the Mustangs, first baseman number 23, Demir Simon. So if I've been pushing the button correctly the whole time, that means we're up to 8 errors, I believe.
Yeah, I have 8 errors as well. So we mentioned, as we're going to get a pitching change from Crooms, this inning really started, we've been seeing mistakes. The mistakes in this inning at the beginning was the pass ball and the wild pitch, 3 in total during the first 2 at-bats. We've now seen 3 errors over the last 4 at-bats.
And it turns out, Neil, your prediction was exactly right. Now coming into the pitcher's mound for the Panthers is number 8, Dylan Gallant.
So Gallant again, the freshman, he's gone 12 2/3 innings for Crooms, given up 23 runs. He has not walked a batter against 16 strikeouts, an ERA of 4.97. He's given up 16 runs, 9 of which earned, again, in 12 2/3. So judging from that stat line, Gallant is very good with his control. Unfortunately, he doesn't fool the batters as much as he'd like to. 13-10 is the score. We are in the bottom of the 6th. Mustang Field is the location. Neil Fisher along with Mark Barchi, Keith Dickerson, the broadcast department director, handling the video aspects. And we have seen really, I guess you could say, a 3-act game tonight. Wekiva falling behind 10-0 through the first 4 innings. Crooms putting up 7 runs in the second inning. They sent 13 batters to the plate in that inning. Then Wekiva erupted. Their offense, which was batting .229 and a .426 on-base percentage, came to life, erupted in the 5th inning, sending 10 batters to the plate. 7 runs, cut the lead to 10-7, and both teams have scored 3 runs in the half inning since the score was cut to 10-7. Demir Simon steps in, 0 for 3 today, 2 strikeouts, looks at ball 1.
Now at the plate for the Mustangs, first baseman number 23, Demir Simon.
And a runner at second base with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning. Simon swings, finds the hole between first and second. Vasquez rounds third.
He's coming home, and he's going to get there with no trouble at all. Vasquez scores on an RBI single from Demir Simon.
So Simon liked what he saw on the first pitch from Gallant and wasted no time ripping the ball into right field.
Next to the plate for the Mustangs, catcher number 2, Josiah McCoy. So, Neil, if I have been counting correctly, that is hit number 6 for Wekiva?
Yes, hit number 6. And we might have another one, not quite far enough. That's McCoy, and he will fly out to center field.
Play is made by Dunlop in center field, and that will take us to the end of the 6th inning. In that half inning, the Mustangs scored 4 runs on 1 hit with 2 Panther errors, leaving 1 on base. And the score now has been closed to a 2-run ball game. 13-11 is the score at the end of 6. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mustang Field as we enter the top of the 7th inning. The Panthers will start in the 2nd position of their lineup with number 44, Matt Trepane. Of course, he was the starting pitcher for the Panthers. He has now been relieved a couple of times over, but remains in the lineup.
13-11 is the score. Crooms in the lead. They've led from the 1st inning. Trepane 1 for 3 today. And he looks at ball 1 from Bandana, who relieved Reyes Munoz with 2 outs in the 2nd. He has gone the distance since then. 1-1 count on Trepane.
And I'll remind you, Neil, and for those of our viewers just tuning in, this was almost a 10-run rule shutout in the 5th inning. The Panthers were 3 outs away from making that happen, and now here we are at the 2.5-hour mark since first pitch. That's going up, looks catchable if they can get there, and they do. Fly catch made by Goodwin in center field, 1 away for the Panthers. Next at the plate for Crooms, pitcher number 8, Dylan Gallant.
And Goodwin doing exactly what the center fielder is supposed to do. He called off the second baseman and the shortstop. It's always easier for an outfielder to catch the ball running towards the infield than the infielder is running towards the outfield. As Gallant takes strike 1. He is 1 for 2 today.
Yeah, for a moment there I thought Vasquez was going to cause a collision, but he peeled off at the last second at his own expense as he had to go to the ground.
And Gallant is going to lift that ball in the right field, and a nice fielding play by France, reaching and grabbing the out.
Ethan France stretches for the fly catch in right field, 2 away for the Panthers. Next at the plate for Crooms, number 30, Ethan Richards, who I have honestly lost track of what position he's playing currently. He started the game at first base.
He is 1 for 4 at the plate, though, and he has had a big hit today. That was a double in the 2nd that brought in 2 runs. Crooms in the lead on the strength of that second inning. They pushed 7 across the plate. Richards driving in 2. He has struck out the last 2 at-bats, though.
Now, one thing about a 13-11 score is it means both of these teams are going to generate a lot of offensive stats today. Lots of plate appearances on both sides. As we get one in the dirt, nobody on to take advantage of it.
Yeah, this is the 5th time through the lineup for Crooms. And Wekiva's almost to the 5th. They're about 4.5 times through. 1-1 count on Richards. He started the day at first base.
And Bandana, in spite of being the relief pitcher today, has been pretty well on. Good looking curve, and it drops and catches the outside bottom corner of the strike zone. Richards obviously didn't think so, but the umpire's opinion is the only one that counts.
Yeah, Bandana's given up 5 runs today. Only 2 are earned, though, on 5 hits, and that will keep the count at 1-2. Of course, his biggest issue, he had 2 outs in the last inning, and then 3 runs were pushed across by
Swing and a miss!
Swing and a miss.
Bandana records the swinging strikeout, and that takes us to the middle of the 7th inning. In that half inning, 3 up and 3 down. No runs scored on no hits with no Mustang errors, leaving none on base, and the score stands 13-11 going into the final half inning of regulation. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mustang Field. As we enter the bottom of the 7th inning, the Mustangs will begin in the 6th position of their lineup with left fielder
And
number 10, Ian Rosado.
Wekiva, Crooms 13, Wekiva 11, as the count is now 0-1 on Rosado, who steps up. 1 for 2 today, a double, a walk, and a strikeout. We are in the bottom of the 7th. Wekiva 3 outs to work with. They need to score 2 runs, at least 2 runs. Ethan Richards on the mound for Crooms, and Rosado at the plate. And he will swing at the high heat on the inside. 1-2 count. A story, a 3-act play. Crooms leading 10-0, entering the 5th. Wekiva cut the lead to 10-7. 2-2 count. Wekiva has outscored Crooms by a 4-3 count to cut that lead to 2 since the bottom of the 5th and cutting the lead to 10-7. Inside, 3-2, full count.
So, of course, the Mustangs will need to make up 2 runs to keep the game alive. A 3rd run would be a walk-off.
Actually, a 2-2 count. Richards delivers, connect!
That's going foul. Oh, that was a good look.
Yeah, it sounded good off the bat. You could hear the clink. So these two teams played. Crooms comes in 1-8. Wekiva 5-9. They're 4-5 in their last 9 games, 2-game winning streak. And there is strike 3. Rosado standing like the house on the side of the road.
Gallant records the strikeout looking, 1 away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate for Wekiva, number 8, the third baseman, Jangle Sanchez.
An ill-afforded out for Wekiva. Rosado Fool looked at that. Sanchez, 2 for 3 today, a pair of singles in his last 2 at-bats. He'll begin with a foul ball. The teams met on March 5th. That was a 12-4 win by Wekiva. And in that game, Wekiva actually scored 10 runs in the 5th, 6th, and 7th inning combined. It was 2-2 heading into the 5th. Ooh. Inside pitch, curve caught the corner according to the ump, so an 0-2 count. So Wekiva again waited to the 5th inning to bring their offense, and that's going to be strike 3. 2 strikeouts looking, 2 up, 2 down in the top of the 7th.
Gallant records another strikeout looking to put 2 away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate for Wekiva, number 14, Greg Jones. So now Jones is the last hope for Wekiva. They'll need to score at least 2 runs before picking up another out. Chopping at that one, it's going to short. And the play is made on the throw from Acevedo to Richards, and that will take us to the end of the ball game. In total, the Panthers scoring 13 runs on 11 hits with 5 Mustang errors. Mustangs 11 runs on 6 hits with 8 Panther errors. Final score 13-11. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for coming out to support your Mustang and Panther athletes this afternoon. And we will also remind you to stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We've got senior night festivities coming up in just a moment for the Mustangs as soon as we get reset. A special thanks also to those of you who joined us online on YouTube or the NFHS network. If you would like to join us for senior night, we certainly hope that you will. We just want to let you know it is on its own separate live stream. We're going to be going live with that in just a few minutes, so just back out to the main menu on the Wekiva Sports Channel homepage on YouTube, click into the Senior Night Ceremony, and we'll meet you there in just a few minutes. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Wekiva Sports. Please subscribe before you go, and bookmark WekivaMustangs.com for all of your scores, schedules, and more.